Hello. I know I haven't done an update for a little while. I've been going through a rough internal transition that I just didn't know how to put into words. It just, I don't know. It seems like sometimes life just, when you decide something, life says, how bad do you want it? And then, gives you an enormous challenge to overcome, to be able to keep having it, And so I made this decision that I was just going to love my life no matter what's happening. And I don't know, I feel like I'm in this weird boot camp, of doing that, like the weights keep getting increased. Like if I was at the gym and I wanted to build this amazing body, the weights would keep getting increased as soon as I could handle it. And what it actually does is tears your muscle so that your body has to repair that muscle. And what it does to repair it is create more muscle. At least that's what I remember. So I made a goal that I'm going to walk every morning. And I was doing really great. And then, not last night, but the night before that, I slept for 1 hour. And then I could not go back to sleep. And what I realized is that I was drinking kombucha that day, and it has black tea in it, which has a lot of caffeine in it. Just stop for a second. And then I had also kind of indulged in a diet soda, which I hardly ever do, and that had caffeine in it, and I can't have caffeine past like noon ever, or I can't sleep, and I had drank a whole bunch of caffeine. So anyway, yesterday, like I said, I woke up at before midnight. I tried to go to bed. I couldn't go to sleep. I slept for 1 hour. And then I woke up and I couldn't go back to sleep. So I got up and I finished most of the edits on my book so that I could get that into being able to be ordered and get my orders so that I can ship them, and I just kept nodding off while I'm doing that. I'm doing it in the middle of the night, and then by the time the sun rose, which is when I said I would get up and go walking, I just felt nauseous and it just was just a hard day because I hadn't slept. And then as you know, if you've been following along with me for any length of time, my husband really struggles with symptoms from his brain injury, with leftover symptoms from his brain injury. And this winter has been another hard one. And I don't know, one of the things that I am finally being honest with myself about, and he is too, is, there's really nothing we have found so far that we can do to help these episodes not happen, where he just, his brain just kind of shuts off. And so, I end up a solo person largely in our life, and it's difficult because I can't really talk to anybody about it because it doesn't make sense to most people, and it makes it harder to talk to people about it and have them give me advice that would normally work for most people. And so I keep it to myself. And one of the things, like I said, that I feel like I've been being totally tested with is, can you still love your life even if you don't have a partner for a while and your partner's sick? I mean, I've been doing this for almost 18 years. Good heavens. That's a long time, dudes. I sat down yesterday and wrote out some of the things that have been these chronic challenges. That's one of them. The other one's just basically my personal weaknesses and limitations. The way I get so many things going because I feel so desperate a lot of the time, especially I have PTSD from those 6 years when he was totally out of it, right after his brain injury. I had a big company then, and just so many things happened. I have PTSD from that. I have, and from just patterns in my life, like the post-traumatic stress, and I guess it's a disorder. Lots of people just say PTS. When I talk to my therapist, just the stack of things that have been going on for a lot of my life, just the uncertainty, and I have to, I keep trying to find ways to make the uncertainty go away. That's kind of been my long-term strategy. and it works for a while. But then I feel like such a failure when it stops working. And I just looked at, like, most of the time it's completely out of my control when it stops working. Sometimes it is, but what I'm trying to do is control what happens in our life. And then when I can't control what happens in our life, I feel like a failure, and I feel desperate, and I feel terrified. And I've been doing this for years and years and years and years and years. And I think just this new awareness that, like, no matter what I do, I cannot control what happens in our life, largely. I mean, I can't control when accidents happen. I can't control when, like, you could challenge me on that, and you could say, oh, sure you could, and believe me, I've done all the things. But man, I'm telling you, if you looked at just the sheer amount of grit and determination and tries that I put into everything, and then just do the statistics on it, I should be able to, if a person were able to control their environment completely, I should have that aced by now. I should have that completely aced. And so the conclusion that I have come to is if you've been, watching and, being with me, partnering with me on my courses and my writing, my life, my journal, anything, that I already know this, and I've said it 1,000 different ways. But there's just these little parts of life that I always think, if I did a little bit better, I could control this. And so then I go into the shame cycle of you didn't do what you were supposed to do. And that's why these things happen. If you would have done it right, then, you wouldn't be in this situation. Well, I don't know how I fool myself into thinking that, because there have maybe been a very small percentage of winters where Mark has been totally well, and I don't know what the factors were. I don't know. But what I know is this, for me personally, I just have to look at what I do inside of this challenge. I have to create my inner world, and that's my biggest takeaway from the last little while is I have to create my inner world. No matter what is happening in my life, no matter what's happening in his life, I have to create my inner world. I can't control my outer world. I can enjoy my outer world. I mean, look, I spend a large majority of my time sitting in a chair or on a couch with a laptop trying to solve all the problems in the world. I mean, I'll do that for days and days at a time. I won't even leave. Just making myself solve this math problem. And I work and I work and I work. And I have found myself before working, I get up at 3:00 in the morning. Something in me has this ethic that I need to work at least until 5. And so that's a 14-hour day. And still I feel guilty if I stop working before 5. And that's messed up. And then after 3 days, I feel absolutely insane in my mind because I haven't done anything except try to solve these math problems. I'm a mad scientist. I'm a mad soul scientist. And so I made this goal that I would get up, as soon as the sun comes up, and that's 6:45 here. Maybe it's 7:45. Yeah, so 7:30, 7:45. I've usually been up for at least a few hours by then. And yesterday, like I said, by the time that time came around, I was so nauseous and so sick, and I still made myself just keep going all day, for most of the day. And finally, about 3:00, Mark and I went and got groceries, and then we came home, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna make myself do something that's not work. And so I watched a bunch of shows and just messed around, sketched and stuff like that. But I am, my mantra for the year is I love my life. And so my next steps are I'm building my vision board. A lot of you guys got my vision board kit that's in Patreon. You can join Patreon for $1. That's as low as they'll let me go, and you can get that vision board kit. It's enormous and it's beautiful. But I've been working on my vision board, but the first thing I did is I created it's a decision board. It's things I've decided. Like, you can have a vision for things and you can have goals, but you really have to decide, like, I am doing this. But when I'm checking in with a lot of the neuroscience people I follow and people I know, the first thing you have to do is get into a state of gratitude. And so before you can vision out what you want for your future and the world that you want to create for yourself, you've got to get yourself into a place where you're already grateful for what you have. And so I created 2 boards. One's a gratitude board, and it's an I love my life board. That's what it is. I love my life as it exists now, finding things that I love about my life. And what was shocking and surprising is I love almost everything about my life. I mean, the thing that's been difficult over the last couple of years is just missing my family. And we set off to try to find something to help Mark's health, and this place definitely has, and it definitely does. But now we're carving a life here. I don't know if we'll ever be able to. If we would ever be able to, move back where we moved from in Boise, because it's just so freaking expensive. But also, we're carving a life here, and we love it. And so this is where we are. This is where I've got to love my life. Is where I am. I have to love my life right here. And I do. But the thing that I think that makes it the hardest, like the days when I don't love my life, are when I don't get out of the house and I don't get in nature and I don't change my energy, change my environment, change the energy that's around me. And I don't notice like all the incredibly beautiful things around me. So anyway, this is long enough, and so I'm going to keep going on the trail. I've got quite a bit longer to go. I'm walking for at least an hour. Usually end up walking a couple hours because I can't stop taking all this in. It's kind of cold today here in St. George. I'm wearing gloves and a hat, and the sun's behind me and it's beautiful. But it's gorgeous. It's January and I love my life. I love you. Mwah.